the matter that's trending right now is the minimum wage issue, the Labour and the federal government, and a lot of things have been said about it. Governors meeting to see how they can, agree on a certain amount to this. Right now, as we speak, some governors have accepted to pay 22,700 naira if approved, and Labour is insisting on 30,000 naira with the federal government. In all of this, how would you look at the Labour issue with government?
First and foremost, I mean, the negotiation is between Labour and federal government, I believe, initially. Now, this is why when we talk today, there is no way we will not bring in the word restructuring. Because now, if we restructure Nigeria, each governor should be able to negotiate his minimum wage with his workers in his state, because he will negotiate based on what he's generating and what he can afford. He will not negotiate based on the crude allocation that is coming from Rivers State to go to his state where there is no crude. So people like Rivers State are taking on the burden of minimum wage as far as I'm concerned, because we are contributing to the funds that is going to generate the minimum wage. Now, the minimum wage of 18,000 is not a living wage. Nigeria has hardly paid a living wage to its workers, and that's why we have corruption in the system. The system of government is corrupt because government workers are the least paid, from police to army to ministry workers. How do you pay somebody 18,000 naira? He has 3 children in primary school and is renting a house. How will he live? So he must be corrupt. Now, the 22,500 is not a living wage. It's less than 50 pounds. Nobody earns less than 50 pounds in the UK. People will tell us, but this is not UK. But we have enough money. We have money in this country. It is mismanaged. And so we come back to restructuring. But the minimum wage that the federal government has offered the Labour, and the one that some state governors are saying that they will be able to pay, at the end of the day, it is between the state government, the federal government, and unfortunately, they had suffering wage earner in Nigeria who truly, in all honesty, cannot live comfortably on 22,500. So do I think it's a good wage? No, I don't think it's a good wage. But do I think that the governors can afford it? I don't know if the governors can afford it. I'm not in government. Do I think that the federal government can afford it or should negotiate such a wage for their people? I don't know. I'm not in government. But as a person who lives day to day and goes to market and knows the price of garri and sugar, I know that nobody can survive on 22,500.
Okay, now, based on what you said, if at all the governors have accepted to pay 22,500, will it also warrant governors of states in the Niger Delta, with the allocation they are having, if not increased, comfortably pay this amount, if not better than what the governors have accepted?
Well, first and foremost, if the Niger Delta states, the oil-producing states, are the ones controlling their resources and paying tax to federal government, Niger Delta has no business with poverty. We have no business with poverty. Niger Delta people are some of the richest people on earth if you go by what is in our land. Now, the Niger Delta states, Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom has gone to court and have got a judgment from the Supreme Court that every barrel of oil that is above $20, that they should get an amount increase in revenue. Now, if that happens And we're talking about restructuring. And if that also happens, then of course, I agree that the governments of the Niger Delta states should be able to pay a living wage. A living wage. The labor is asking for 30,000. I think 30,000 for a start is a good start. But I am almost worried that with the amount of revenue that we are getting today in the Niger Delta, and with what is owed us in the Niger Delta by different mechanisms that goes back to the federal government. Even let me say it here that if our governors will will give us the right information, we will find out that even the 13% is not 13% full on the nail. We're not getting 13%. So our governors must tell us the truth. How much are we getting? Is it 10%? Is it 9%? When all said and done. That way we won't be judging them harshly. But right now we're hearing what are they doing with the 13%? Well, I don't know what they're doing with the 13%. But if we restructure this country, therein lies the solution for a lot of these situations that we have in Nigeria.
Fine argument. Madam, if a new allocation will be suggested for the Niger states, and you said they can afford to pay a living wage, how much do you think it should be increased to enable Niger states afford a living wage to its workers?
No, I am not talking about new allocation, please. I do not believe that it is the right of federal government to come in here, take 100% of our resources, take it to Abuja and give us what they like in the name of 13%. No. What I have always advocated for and what I will continue to advocate for is very simply this, and that is part of restructuring. You allow us to own, manage and control our resources. It's ours and our land. Tell us how much tax we will pay. We will negotiate the tax and we will agree with federal government what we will pay. Not allocation. Federal, it is not proper because even the constitution says a minimum of 13%. So once it says minimum of 13%, it actually can, by law, it can go up to 100%. Because all it says is minimum. It didn't say maximum. It says minimum. So if it says minimum of 13%, I see no reason why we cannot get 100% and pay tax. So please, I'm not driving the process of increase of revenue. No, nobody should increase our revenue for us.
Okay. Now coming to the federal government, why do you think federal government will continue to hesitate to afford to pay labor bargain of 30,000 naira? Is it too much for federal government, or is it that the 30,000 will be too much for labor not to work? Or will not take the work seriously because of much money in the pocket? If I answer that question in the way and manner in which it comes to me, I will be speculating what I believe. The federal government should tell the citizens and Labour Party why they cannot guarantee a living wage of 30,000 naira to the workers of Nigeria. They deserve it. Now, if the federal government, as federal government, says that it cannot afford 30,000 naira to pay Nigerians as a living wage, then there is something seriously wrong, where we have a situation of a federal government that is wasteful, a federal government that buys computers every single budget year for the same office. What are they doing with it? A federal government that budgets for a healthcare system that it itself cannot use. Where is the healthcare system? There is something seriously wrong with the way the federal government is managing the money that it is taking from the Niger Delta. If today we relocate the oil
the oil company's headquarters to Niger Delta, which must happen in the next 4 years. We will start that agitation. It must happen. Because all the taxes that should be paid in Niger Delta is paid in Lagos. All the jobs that the oil companies are creating that should be in the Niger Delta is in Lagos. I don't blame the Lagos state governor. I blame our people that have allowed a situation where an oil company and their workers will live in Lagos, have drivers, have cooks, have cars, pay tax, go to restaurants and generate money in Lagos, while the money they are spending, they are taking it from the Niger Delta, raw, and devastating our water and devastating our source of income, and telling us that Niger Delta is insecure. If Niger Delta is insecure for you to live and work here, then the Niger Delta must be insecure for you to take the raw material that you're using to live and work in Lagos.
Any advice for Labour and government put together?
The advice for Labour and government is that Labour should for once stand their ground. If they say they will not agree, they should not agree. It's not that they would say it must be 30,000 or nothing. Then tomorrow now they go back and take 22,500. Nobody will take them seriously. So it is their Labour is their responsibility to work for their members, not for federal government. Labour is not to negotiate on behalf of federal government. They are negotiating on behalf of their labor, their workers. So far, since I've started seeing Labour's activity since 1999 till today, Labour has never stood by the demands that they have made. They will threaten brimstone and fire, even rain won't fall. So and federal government should stop looking down on the workers of Nigeria. The wage they are paying Nigerian workers is not a living wage.
Thank you, ma'am.